2020 has recently begun, looks like a very promising year for movies, which is why I am doing my list of my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2020. I'm really excited for this year and hopefully we get some good movies. Now before we get into the top 10 list, I have 8 honorable mentions in alphabetical order because that's how I like to arrange my honorable mentions. Starting with Birds of Prey, Eternals, Free Guy, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Godzilla vs. Kong, The King's Man, Scoob, and the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run. And with those honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into the top 10 list. Coming in at number 10 is the first of 2 Pixar movies coming out this year, and both of them are original ideas, and this one is coming out in early March that I'm looking forward to, Onward. I am always interested to see Pixar do something original that's not a sequel or prequel. And so far with the trailers, I'm really liking the fantasy setting so far. It looks like some interesting world building. And as always with Pixar, the animation looks absolutely fantastic. They never ever disappoint with their animation. And our 2 leads, voiced by Tom Holland and Chris Pratt, Spider-Man and Star-Lord, in a Pixar movie. I'm excited to see both of them in this movie. I think so far their voices fit perfectly for their characters. I'm excited that Tom Holland is doing more voice acting and animation, and I haven't seen Spies in Disguise yet, although I've heard decent things about it. And Chris Pratt voiced Emmett in Lego Movie 1 and 2, and now he's in a Pixar movie. And I admit, with the past few trailers, the plot is a bit weird, with their brothers trying to bring their dad back with a staff, and they're doing a spell to bring him back, but not all of him comes back, just half of him with just his legs. And when I first saw that in one of the trailers, I thought, I wasn't expecting that. It's kind of strange, but I'm interested to see what they do with this. Overall, I'm hoping this is another fun and good Pixar film. Maybe it could be a great one. Even with Pixar's history of trailers that aren't really the greatest, but the movies themselves end up being great, so maybe this could happen again. We'll see. This movie comes out in the first week of March. I'm looking forward to this one. Coming in at number 9 is a superhero sequel that I'm anticipating, Wonder Woman 1984. I really liked the first Wonder Woman movie. I thought it was a step in the right direction for the DCU. I thought it picked stuff up. Although I wasn't a fan of the villains in the movie, and I wasn't a fan of the boss battle at the end, but I absolutely loved Gal Gadot in the role, her chemistry with Chris Pine, who was great too, the action, and I just thought it was a really good superhero movie, and was excited to see a sequel. With the first trailer, this looks really good so far. I'm really liking the 80s setting so far, especially with the trailer music they used. I'm excited to see Gal Gadot back into the role of Wonder Woman. I think she's perfect casting. So far, the action looks really good so far, along with the visual effects too. And something that I'm hoping is an improvement over the first Wonder Woman is the villains. And our first villain so far is Pedro Pascal from The Mandalorian. And in the trailer, we might get some hints that he might have something up his sleeve, so I'm excited to see how he does as a villain. And also, we have Kristen Wiig, who is playing Cheetah, and I like Kristen Wiig, and when I heard she was playing Cheetah, I was like, odd choice, but interested to see what they do, and so far I think she looks good in the role. Although we haven't seen the first look of Cheetah yet, I'm excited to see it, but a bit worried at the same time. Hopefully the CGI on Cheetah won't be bad. Hopefully it won't remind me of when we first saw the look of Will Smith's Genie in one of the Aladdin trailers. Let's hope it doesn't look like that, or even Cats. I'm hoping it doesn't look like that at all. And of course, my biggest question with the trailer, and along with everyone else wondering the same thing, in the first movie, spoiler alert, Steve Trevor died in the first movie, and then he comes back in this sequel, World War I to 1984. Just how is Steve Trevor still alive? Just how? Is there any way he could maybe come back? I hope they explain this in the movie. I really want to know. I'm hoping this is just as good as the first film, along with a satisfying and entertaining sequel. Coming in at number 8 is a sequel that we're finally getting, more than 30 years of waiting, Top Gun Maverick. Now it's been a long while since I've seen the original Top Gun movie, but after watching the trailers, I'm excited to go back and rewatch the first movie. I'm happy that Tom Cruise is back for this sequel and getting it made. It's interesting to see Tom Cruise do a sequel that's not Mission Impossible, although I love the last few Mission Impossible movies. I'm excited to see what he does with a Top Gun sequel. So far, I'm loving the cast. You got Jennifer Connelly, Ed Harris, John Hamm, and Miles Teller is playing the son of Goose. You got a great cast so far. And in the trailer, the jet sequences look amazing, just beautifully shot. I'm excited to see those sequences in the movie. They look very well directed. Overall, I'm excited for this Top Gun sequel, and all I have to say is, I feel the need. The need for speed. Coming in at number 7 is what supposedly the final Bond film for Daniel Craig, No Time to Die. Now, Daniel Craig has always been my favorite Bond. I just think he's so perfect for the role, and I can't imagine anyone else playing James Bond other than him right now. I loved Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace was disappointing, Skyfall I loved, Spectre is decent, but I had some issues with the script. So hopefully this will be just as good as Casino Royale and Skyfall. And with the trailer that came out in December, this looks pretty good so far. Honestly, it exceeded my expectations. The action looks great so far, it looks like a beautifully shot film. And I'm also loving the character-driven story for Bond this time around. I'm interested to see that. As well as I'm loving the new cast members. You got Ana de Armas, this new Bond girl. I loved her in Blade Runner 2049 and Knives Out, also with Daniel Craig, so I'm excited to see her in the role. And especially, what I'm excited to see the most, Rami Malek is the new James Bond villain. Now, I think Rami Malek is a great actor so far. I loved him as Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. Happy he won the Oscar. And I can't wait to see how he does as a Bond villain, and hopefully he'll do a really good job in the role. And this is going to be Daniel Craig's final time playing Bond, so hopefully this will be a good one to go out on. And the release date this time for this movie is April, and usually Bond movies come out in November, so it's interesting that it's coming out in the spring, so hopefully this will be a good one. At number 6 is a horror sequel that I'm highly anticipating to a predecessor that I loved, A Quiet Place Part 2. I loved the first Quiet Place movie. It was one of my favorite movies of 2018. I just thought it was a very unique horror movie, a well-paced and tension-filled movie. John Krasinski did an absolutely amazing job with that movie. And I was interested to see what would happen with a sequel when it was first announced. And I kind of do want a sequel to A Quiet Place since the ending kind of made me upset. Not that anything bad happened, because it was just an abrupt ending that ended way too early. They were building up something awesome at the ending. It was just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? But then Emily Blunt's character cocks her gun, and then the screen went black, and then directed by, oh, come on. Why'd you have to end it there? There could have been something awesome. But anyways, the trailer recently came out, looks really good so far. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Emily Blunt looks great, just like she was in the first movie. I'm excited that John Krasinski is back directing this sequel. He did a great job with the first movie. I'm excited to see him back. As well as some new additions like Cillian Murphy, who's been showing up in some Christopher Nolan movies like Batman Begins, Inception, and Dunkirk. He's a great actor. I'm excited to see him in this sequel. This is my second most anticipated horror movie of 2020. I cannot wait for A Quiet Place 2. At number 5 is my most anticipated superhero movie of 2020. I'm glad we're getting this movie, Black Widow. I've been wanting Black Widow to get her own solo movie ever since the first Avengers and Captain America the Winter Soldier. And with subsequent MCU movies she's been in, just been asking, when is she getting her own movie, please? And it's finally happening. And even though in Endgame, if you've seen Endgame, you know what happened to Black Widow, but this is a prequel, and with the first trailer, this movie looks awesome. I'm loving the action so far. I'm getting a Jason Bourne and Mission Impossible vibe so far from this, and I'm loving it. I'm happy that Scarlett Johansson is not done with the Black Widow role yet. She looks excellent as always. And with the rest of the supporting cast, I'm excited to see Florence Pugh as her sister. I loved her in Little Women. Glad she got an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. You also got Rachel Weisz and David Harbour joining the cast. This movie has a really good cast so far. And I'm interested to see a character-driven story with Black Widow, with her family, and discovering more about her past. And I'm interested to see what they do with that. This is definitely my most anticipated superhero movie for 2020. I cannot wait for Black Widow. Just hopefully her solo movie will be worth the wait. At number 4 is the second Pixar movie coming out this year, another original idea from them, and that is Soul. The reason why I am excited for Soul is because Pete Docter is directing this film, and he is my favorite Pixar director. He directed Monsters, Inc., one of my top 5 favorite Pixar movies of all time. And if you've been on my channel last year with the 10-year review and my top 10 favorite Pixar movies, you would know Up is my favorite Pixar movie of all time. and Inside Out he also directed, which is fantastic. And with the teaser trailer that has been released for this film, looks really good so far and very interesting. The animation, as always, Pixar looks stunning and beautiful, and the voice cast looks good so far. Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey are in this movie. And I predict that this could be a very heartfelt movie from Pixar. This is easily my most anticipated animated movie of 2020. It comes out in the middle of June. Really looking forward to this. At number 3 is my most anticipated horror movie of 2020, and it comes from director Edgar Wright, Last Night in Soho. Edgar Wright, anything he's involved in, I want to see it. Edgar Wright is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, probably my favorite comedy of all time. The Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, all 3 great movies, and Baby Driver was awesome. And still to this day, I would have really liked to imagine what Ant-Man would have been like if he directed it. Now, what I've heard about this film so far is this film is not quite as comedic as his other films, and this is going to be a horror movie. I'm excited to see Edgar Wright return to horror elements he used in Shaun of the Dead. You got red on you. And so far, who I've heard is being in this film is Anya Taylor-Joy from The Witch and Split. Really talented actress so far. And Thomasin McKenzie, who I recently loved in Jojo Rabbit. This movie comes out in September. I am excited for a trailer to come out. Can't wait to see something from this movie. Coming in at number 2 is the new movie from Denis Villeneuve, Dune. Now, despite that I have not seen the Dune movie from 1984, why is it high on my list? Because I love director Denis Villeneuve. I think he's one of the best filmmakers working today. Prisoners is incredible. That's personally my favorite Denis Villeneuve film so far. Enemy and Sicario are great. Arrival is fantastic, along with Blade Runner 2049. And the amazing cast he has assembled for this movie. You got Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, Jason Momoa, Zendaya. What a really good cast in this movie. And I predict that the cinematography, like always with Denis Villeneuve's movie, looks fantastic. He knows how to make just any movie look magnificent. Hans Zimmer is composing the music for this movie. I predict it's going to be a great musical score. This movie comes out in December. I am excited for a trailer to come out. Can't wait to see some new footage from this movie. And my number 1 most anticipated movie of 2020. And when I thought of movies coming out in 2020, and when I thought of which is the one I want to see the most and highly anticipating, it was not a hard one. Anything from this director I instantly want to see, and the trailer that recently came out for this movie got me super excited, and that is Tenet from director Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is easily one of my top 3 favorite filmmakers working today, if not my favorite director working today. Just the great movies he made over the years. Memento, the Dark Knight trilogy, The Prestige, Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk. And with the first trailer that came out in December, this looks fantastic. The trailer is not giving away too much, which I like. Don't really know what the story is yet, but I can tell so far with the concept, with time. Looks very intriguing so far. And the amazing cast Christopher Nolan is getting for this movie. John David Washington in the lead role. Loved him in BlacKkKlansman. Should have gotten an Oscar nomination for Best Actor. And also Robert Pattinson in this movie. You also got Michael Caine. It's a Christopher Nolan movie. Of course Michael Caine is going to be in it. Kenneth Branagh. Really good cast so far. And the visual effects look great too. What I love about Christopher Nolan is he likes to rely on practical effects rather than CGI effects, so it definitely looks like some practical effects are being used. And unfortunately, Hans Zimmer won't be composing the music for this movie since he's going to be working on Dune. However, the composer for this movie is the same composer who won an Oscar for Black Panther. Great musical score in Black Panther. I'm excited to see him do the musical score for a Nolan movie. So far, I'm loving what I'm seeing from this movie so far. This is definitely my most anticipated movie of 2020. I am so hyped for Tenet. And those are my most anticipated movies of 2020. Looks like a pretty good year. And stay tuned next week because that is when I'll be uploading my top 10 favorite movies of 2019. I'm working on the list and I'm excited to bring that video to you guys. So what are your guys' most anticipated movies of 2020? Do you have a top 5, top 10? Let me know below. I'm interested to hear. And also make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new here. It really means a lot. I'm Jack Bender, and look forward to another movie review.